poems that originally, they were communicating. There was something there, but I didn't understand them. And so don't let that put you off of a poem. Robert Frost said, "I never started a poem yet whose end I knew. Writing a poem is discovery." And that was very, very true in the case of this poem, as I'm going to share with you in just a moment. And again, Robert Frost's poetry says, poetry begins in delight and ends in wisdom. And I got tremendous wisdom from this poem. So I want us to go through this poem, Fear of Flying. Who made a book by that title? Eric John, yes. Very famous book. And the poem begins with this: backwards towards the nervous western coast. So, again, we're going to think archetypally here. What's the first thing you notice about my journey? How am I flying? Backwards. Backwards. What's wrong with this picture? You don't fly backwards. So right off the bat, the poem was telling me, my unconscious was telling me, you're going about it all wrong. You got the proverbial cart before the horse. All right? And I'm flying towards where? The nervous western coast. Now again, when I first read this poem, I said, oh, what a clever image for California, the land of earthquakes. Nervous, Well, that's the symbol. That's not what the symbol means. What was Horace Greeley's famous line? Go west, young man, go west. Why? What's out west?
The setting sun, the future,
Opportunity. Discovery. So this is a poem urging me to go on this journey of discovery, but telling me, Buster, you're flying backwards. Okay? I take the Yaqui Way on tinfoil wings. How many remember Juan Carlos, the Yaqui Way? Okay. Don Juan, I'm sorry, yeah. Don Juan, the Yaqui Way. So I'm flying like Don Juan used to fly. And in fact, when that book was out, I used to take some amazing flights. Amazing flights. It was just phenomenal. I lived on a great ranch, and I could fly over that ranch. It was just truly amazing. So here I am, taking the Yaqui Way, but I'm on what? Tin foil wings. Now what's tin foil made of? Aluminum. What's an airplane wing made of? Aluminum. But in this case, I chose to say tin foil instead of aluminum. What does that suggest? Yeah, my wings aren't terribly reliable. And I'm taking the Yaqui Way, so I shouldn't need tinfoil wings at all. It's another part of this contrast with the journey I'm trying to make. I'm going about it all wrong. I'm trying to use these tinfoil wings, and I should just be flying in my mind. I should be flying in my spirit. I don't need this stupid tinfoil. Okay? Against the morning turquoise. Now note, poets often do this. They make a play on words. How is morning spelled normally in this case? Yeah, M-O-R-N. But here I changed it to what kind of mourning? Sad. There's grieving here. Against the grieving turquoise. Turquoise is a shade of blue. Blue archetypally means both water and sadness. You get the blues. And I have the blues here. I'm flying against the blues. Some part of me is blue, is sad. Why is it blue? Why is it sad? Well, partly because I'm flying backwards. That's enough to upset anybody. Okay? If I find myself on a tarmac going down the runway and look at the window and going backwards, I'm not a happy camper. Of the circled sky around us, Roberta, circled sky, mandala. I'm in the presence of the great mandala. I'm in the presence of the great wholeness. And I'm screwing around with tinfoil wings and flying backwards. And I'm not happy about it. But I am in the presence of greatness. I am in the circled sky.
You're in the sacred space.
I'm in the sacred space.
Your heart is in right.
See, I wasn't just sitting on an airplane beside a beautiful woman. was all emblematic of something. And the leathered earth below, leathered, aged, wisdom, wise, grounding. So I'm here in the stratosphere, but I have this deep, profound grounding below me, available to me. A rock, now this is the part where it gets real dreamy. A rock, as in REM sleep. Now, you know, in dreams you have some really stupid stuff happen. You know, you do things that in life would just be totally impossible. So here is a rock that happens in REM sleep. I'm dreaming of this rock. Okay? Now, a rock, again, is solid, rock solid. Okay? But it's also something you wouldn't expect to see fly. Would you expect to see it swim? A rock is in REM sleep. When I throw a rock in the water, it what? It sinks. But this rock boldly swims the naked night. Now, REM is also a rock group. Who knows REM? Who knows their song, Night Swimming? Wow. If you haven't heard it, listen to it. It's an amazing song. That's a part of what this image is about.
The rock is also a poem by Cancelia.
Yes. Yes. So here is this rock swimming in REM sleep, night swimming. Okay? Yes. And I dream of you with eagle's lust. So I'm dreaming of someone. I'm dreaming of you. Again, at the surface, who was I dreaming of? The beautiful woman sitting across from me. I'm going, just slobbering and drooling. Oh, God, she is so beautiful. Okay? But in reality, what's happening at a much deeper level is she is emblematic of something that's missing for me. Something profound. But my ego part, the part that likes the aluminum wings, okay, is going to get her like an eagle. Swoop down and just snatch her. That's the ego way.
But she's sitting across from you.
Yes,
right?
yes.
She's going forward, so there's
That's
that
correct.
mirror.
That's correct. That's correct. And I turn with taloned hope. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. Okay? That's right. That's what the ego wants to do. Take matters into its own hands. Be in control. My seatbelt. Thank God we all have a seatbelt. Thank God we all have a seatbelt. My seatbelt keeping me away. All my rarefied thoughts at bay. Now again, some play on words here. Rarefied thoughts. Out in the thin air. And they're at bay. Water again. A bay is a place that holds water. At bay is to hold the water back. Okay? So my thoughts are holding the water back. Holding back what water? The water of unconsciousness. And what's in the water of unconsciousness? This beautiful mermaid woman that I long to have union with. Let's call her my soul. Okay? You sleep like valleyed clouds at dawn. Clouds are water, vapor, beautiful, ethereal, great spiritual image of water. And these clouds are valleyed. They're being held. How many of you have seen valley clouds? No, it's just a breathtaking vision. Just an amazing vision. I came through Utah one time, and just as we were coming into sunrise, and these clouds were just being warmed by the sun and spilling over the edge of the mountains. I mean, it was just a mystical experience.
San Francisco, Blue Ridge Mountain.
Yes, yes. So here these valleys, she was like valleyed clouds at dawn. Unwarmed. Unwarmed by who? And yet, she's at rest. So you see, some things in life can get along without us. We can't get along without them. Your doe-like eyes. Doe being deer. What's another kind of doe? D-O-U-G-H. What do you do with that kind of doe? Let it rise. Food. Fields. Potential. Your doe-like eyes. Eye is the lamp into the soul. With velvet shutters and secure against the world. You see, this is a place, folks, where you cannot go and barge in. You can't do it. Many try, but you can't. You must be invited. You have to be welcomed. And in this case, I was not yet welcomed. And we're going to find out why. Well, all about us on this plane. All this is going on, this great spiritual possible reunion, but not happening reunion. And all around us, life's just going on, just carrying on. Suspended by invention. What's the invention? The airplane. The airplane's what's keeping us up in the air, but it's an invention. It's not real. It's not the Yaqui way. I'm not really in touch with my psychic ability, my soulfulness. I'm riding a stupid airplane. And our fear of open skies. See, what keeps us from the interior is our own fear. It's our own fear. There's a famous little story that's told about a guy who falls off a cliff, and as he's about to go over the edge, he sees a little branch sticking out, and he grabs it. And he's hanging on, and he looks up, he can see the dirt beginning to crumble away from the roots on this branch. Not a particularly deep believer, he thinks, what the heck, nothing to be lost. He says, looks up at this guy, he says, is there anybody up there? Can you help me? A beautiful cloud forms, and a voice comes out of the cloud and says, yes, I'll help you. The man says, oh, great, thank goodness. What do you want me to do? He said, well, first, let go of the branch. The guy said, is there anybody else up there that can help me? And that's so true of how we are. You know, there's a way that we can do it. There's a way that we can make the connection, but we've always, the ego says there's always my way, a better way.
Where was the ego in that little illustration?
The ego was the guy saying again, is there anybody else up there?
When the guy advised him to let go, that wasn't going to save him.
Yes, it would. If the voice up there was who it was thought to be, he would save him. In fact, in 12-step programs, what's the famous line? Let go, let go. And until you let go, if you don't let go of the addiction, can you ever get over it?
Let go.
Never.
But it would kill him.
No. No. That's the whole idea. By letting go, we are then free to fly. Until then, we are attached. We're grounded.
Could be a river.
Could be a ledge 2 feet below it.
So, I want you to listen to this poem again. I want you to close your eyes and listen to this poem again. Fear of flying. Backwards. Towards the nervous western coast. I take the Yaqui way on tinfoil wings. Against the morning turquoise of the circled sky about us and the leathered earth below. A rock, as in REM sleep, boldly swims the naked night, and I dream of you with eagle's lust, and turn with taloned hope, my seatbelt keeping me away, and all my rarefied thoughts at bay. You sleep like valley clouds at dawn, unwarm, and yet at rest. Your doe-like eyes pavilion with velvet shutters, and secure against the world. While all about us, life goes on, suspended by invention and our fear of open sky. Did that poem work differently for you the second time?
Yes.
So my point there is, again, getting into the poem, understanding the poem, getting into it archetypally makes all the difference in the world. Because if you're to read that poem at a surface level, you're going to go, this guy had too much to drink on that plane. Don't get it at all. Okay, poetry has the power to convey consciousness. Psychologically, we would call this empathic attunement. Some of you in here are not poets, but I put this piece in here to say, you know what? Poetry is still valuable to you because it can convey to you the same psychic energy that it gave to the poet who wrote the poem. And you've experienced this. Those of you who have read a poem that you just really love, that really spoke to you, you have experienced that empathic attunement. The energy of that poem has become your energy. The wisdom of that poem is now your wisdom. So you don't have to be a poet to love and use and appreciate and be fed by poetry. Stephen Deutman said, I believe that a poem is a window between human beings. You think we could use windows today between people, between cultures? How many of you have read Rumi or Hafez? Well, if you haven't, there's some powerful poetry. What culture is that from?
Iranian.
The Iranian Persian culture. Could we use a little window between us and the Persians today? Better believe it. Better believe it. When Byron, says Matthew Arnold, when Byron's eyes were shut in death, we bowed our heads and held our breath. He taught us little, but our soul has felt him like a thunder roll. Each memorable verse of a true poet has 2 or 3 times the written content. A poem is energy transferred from where the poet got it, by way of the poem itself, all the way over to the reader. Hopefully tonight, my hope, my wish is that as I went through some of these poems, some of you were touched deeply. Maybe you'll go home tonight and have some fabulous dreams. Maybe you'll go home tonight and write a little poem yourself. But hopefully your life has been enriched. This is a poem called Paper Cut. And again, I use the metaphor of the paper cut as to how the poem comes to be. Life is often full of pain. Few things are more painful than a paper cut. Ah, empty page, coveted by so many words and thoughts, a lover's tender kiss or an anthill once disturbed. Either way, life takes a hold of that which even poetry is weak to snag and knows it cannot keep for long. The magic incantation of the moment's time to taste the well-less waters of the now in love. No vinegar of memory or panting under darkening clouds. No, these are words tasted one by one, each syllable salivated like a lover's breast. The tongue titillated by each consonant, tipping salt from the muse's glass to aggravate our wound of words, from out which cease such luscious life. Life can be so painful, but if you put it in a poem, it's delicious. Okay? The power of poetry to transform us. So whether you write or read poetry, it facilitates your own consciousness. I hope you believe that. Whether you write it or read it, it will facilitate your own consciousness, your own coming into being and awareness. Samuel Coleridge Taylor, Kubla Khan. No man was ever yet a great poet without, at the same time, a profound philosopher. For poetry is the blossom and fragrancy of all human knowledge, human thought, human passions, emotion, and language. I close with this poem. A couple quick images here. Gehenna, hell, Tibet, heaven, Amazon. What's the tribe in the Amazon? The women, the soulful women, the powerful women, the soul. Maui, paradise. I talk about a sage at evening's light. This is the prairie sage, whose mating dance is a stomping, and it can be heard for miles. So as you hear this poem, those are some things you'll need to understand. There's a quote by Thomas Merton in here, but the poem's what you want to listen to.
Thomas Merton once wrote, "We will find peace when we can listen to the death dance in our blood, not only with equanimity, but with exultation, because we hear within it the echoes of the victory of the risen Savior." Shadow dancing. Around the primal fire moves the savage in the light, by a dance of ancient passage in the dark of common night. Hot, his naked body glistens as he swims in midnight sweat by the valley of Gehenna near the mountains of Tibet. In the jungle of transition by the Amazon of God, breaks the twig of lilies rising from the dark of Maui's sod. I can hear his footbeats drumming, like the sage at evening's light. As I strip and face the fire I must dance around tonight. And I pray the moon is ready, and the stars will cheer me on, as I hear my angel whisper, "Just go dance, we'll play your song."
Close your eyes, in your own spirit, dance around that fire. So, thank you. Now go home and dance. If you have questions, I'll be glad to take them. I also want to mention that I do edit this book of poetry called Ardent. It comes out twice a year. These are poets from around the world. The featured poet in this issue is Dr. Gary Swain, professor at SMU in Dallas. I can't sell these in the library, but we're going to be going to a restaurant afterwards, or out in the parking lot. I can sell them to you. They're $8 if you'd like one, and again, a chance to refresh your spirit. Questions?
Question over here.
Yes.
Those collection of sayings that you had, they were so wonderful about poetry. You probably don't have those available to sell, do you?
I can send Lawrence a copy of the presentation. They're all in there, and more.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We got to do that.
Amazing collections.
Yes.
Will this presentation, when it finally gets edited, be up on the internet? Or?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, absolutely.
Sure. So it'll be up on Vimeo.com. 2 weeks, then 1 month, something like that.
Whose
with the
account will it
slides
be
cut
under?
in.
Yours?
I don't. Doesn't matter to me.
Well, I mean, who will have that presentation?
Well, Dylan has all these on PowerPoint. We
Right.
might negotiate with him sometime. No, but she's asking what, like video or?
No, I'm asking
I understand.
where the PowerPoint presentation might be available online at some point.
Oh, just the slides themselves?
The PPT.
If you give me your email, I'll send it to you.
Okay, well, you just go to I do our website, so if you just go there and the address is down there, you just send it to me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then you'll post it for us all, Gloria?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, Dylan.
Yeah.
It's an amazing collection.
You spoke of basically channeling the unconscious.
Yes.
In the direct writing of this poetry. I'm wondering if you're not channeling your own superconscious.
Don't know. All I know is that when the lines come to me, they're there. If I don't respect them, they'll never come again. If I'm driving a car and a line comes to me, I either have to repeat that line until I get someplace where I can stop. One hand, you don't want me writing poetry and driving. But I have done it. When I can't stop, the poem takes the lead. But at any rate, yeah, I have to stop. And once I get that first line, the rest is there. I mean, it's like a tagline. It hooks everything else. It's kind of like if you do dream work, you know that if you can hang on to a major image of a dream and bring that back to waking life, the rest of the dream will follow.
So, but that line can be anywhere in the poem?
Can
or-
be. Usually it's the first line.
Okay.
Usually it's the first line. But it can be anywhere in the poem. Yes.
So I imagine you often write poems of dreams that you had, is that correct? Sleeping dreams?
I don't do that very much, no. No, because I let them each have their own territory.
Okay.
I have taken dreams and written poems about them to help me understand the dream. In fact, one of the first books that I put out was called Jungian Heart. Play on words there. And the whole thesis of this book is the relationship between poetry and dreams. And in here I have a long dream that I do a long poem to. But typically I don't work with my dreams that way. Yes?
Do you feel that the studying of your dreams is perhaps cultivating the conversation that you have with that force?
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. In fact, they cross-pollinate. I think that my poetry also evokes great dreams, and my dreams evoke great poetry. It's a cross-pollination, very much so. In fact, some of you were commenting that for a period of time I was putting out a lot of poems right in sequence. But that was after a major, what Jung would call a great dream. And the poems were just flowing like crazy. It was almost bothersome.
Okay, we have one more question here, this gentleman. Did you have a question?
Well, I was just saying, a friend of mine is able to write on a tablet beside his bed while he's still asleep.
Yes.
And a lot of stuff, he's a poet too.
Correct.
A lot of stuff comes to him.
Yes. Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. And again, go home and read some poetry, write some poetry, let some poetry into your life. And I'll have books available afterwards if anyone's interested. Thank you.
Dylan, I feel like we have heard a man share how he has created a bridge between a wisdom that was almost beyond yourself. You don't always know where it comes from. And somehow this young woman's question in the back was so beautiful that you've created this highway, this pathway to access some wisdom. And I feel tonight that my wisdom has been expanded by your ability to do that.
Thank you.
The same way they say that the south of France never looked the same after Cézanne painted the south of France. I feel like you've somehow given words to a corner of our souls that we might not quite have been able to bridge over to.
I hope so.
So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. We have to stack the chairs, so we'll all help.
Cheers.